Caste. The speech Ambedkar had prepared for the 1936 annual conference of the Jatpat Todak Mandal of Lahore could not be delivered because the Mandal cancelled the conference, citing the reason that the views expressed in the speech would be unbearable to the conference. In the speech, Ambedkar suggested various steps to annihilate the caste system and reform Hinduism of its discriminations. In Annihilation of Caste, he says, "Annihilation of caste is more difficult than the other national cause, namely Swaraj. In the fight for Swaraj you fight with the whole nation on your side. In this, you have to fight against the whole nation, and that too, your own. But it is more important than Swaraj. There is no use of having Swaraj if you cannot defend it. More important than the question of defending Swaraj is the question of defending the Hindus under the Swaraj. In my opinion, only when the Hindu society becomes a casteless society that it can hope to have strength enough to defend itself. Without such internal strength, Swaraj for Hindus may turn out to be only a step towards slavery." Ambedkar 2013. 81 Social reform versus political reform. Ambedkar argues that because of evil customs, Hindu society was not in a state of efficiency and ceaseless efforts must be made to eradicate these evils. Recognizing this fact, the birth of the Indian National Congress was accompanied by the foundation of the Social Conference. Just as the Congress was to struggle for political reorganization of India, the Social Conference would struggle for social reformation of the Hindu society. However, this did not sustain for long, and soon the two bodies became two hostile camps. The issue was what takes precedence, social or political reform. After the two forces being evenly balanced for a decade, the fortunes of the Social Conference started ebbing fast. According to Ambedkar, the Social Conference lost the battle due to the kind of social reforms it was advocating. In this connection, it is necessary to make a distinction between social reforms for Hindu families and social reform in the sense of the reorganization and reconstruction of the Hindu society. The former has relation to widow remarriage, child marriage and so on, while the latter relates to the abolition of the caste system. The Social Conference was a body which mainly concerned itself with the reform of the high caste Hindu family. It consisted mostly of enlightened high caste Hindus who did not agitate for the abolition of caste, nor did they have the courage to agitate for the same. They felt quite naturally a greater urge to remove such evils as enforced widowhood, child marriages, etc., evils which prevailed among them and which were personally felt by them. They did not stand up for the reform of the Hindu society. The battle that was fought centered round the question of the reform of the family. It did not relate to the social reform in the respect of the breaking up of the caste system. Ibid. 42 The Social Reform Party lost because the reformers were indifferent to the reform of the Hindu society. Ambedkar questioned the political-minded Hindus, citing examples of inhuman treatment of untouchables by upper caste Hindus. Are you fit for political power even though you do not allow a large section of your own countrymen like the untouchables to use public school? Are you fit for political power even though you do not allow them the use of public wells? Are you fit for political power even though you do not allow them the use of public streets? Are you fit for political power even though you do not allow them to wear what apparel or ornaments they like? Are you fit for political power even though you do not allow them to eat any food they like? I can ask a string of such questions, but these will suffice. I am sure no sensible man will have the courage to give an affirmative answer. Every congressman who repeats the dogma of Mill that one country is not fit to rule another country must admit that one class is not fit to rule another class. Ambedkar, Volume 1, page 38. Ambedkar came to the conclusion that the emancipation of the mind and the soul is a necessary preliminary for the political expansion of the people. Ibid. 42. Fallacy of the socialist. Ambedkar was critical of the Indian socialists as they ignored the problems arising out of the social order and viewed humans as economic beings. Socialists advocate that man is an economic creature. His activities and aspirations are bound by economic facts, and property is the only source of power. They, therefore, preach that economic reform by equalization of property must have precedence over every other kind of reform. However, Ambedkar contested their argument and argued that the social status of an individual by itself often becomes a source of power and authority. This is made clear by the sway which the Mahatmas have held over the common man. He has cited examples from India and European countries to show how in some instances religion, rather than money, was a source of power. Ibid. 44. He argues that economic reform contemplated by the socialists cannot come about unless there is a revolution resulting in the seizure of power. That seizure of power must be by a proletariat. Here, Ambedkar raises the question, will the proletariats of India combine to bring about this revolution? Men will not join in a revolution for the equalization of property unless they know that after the revolution is achieved they will be treated equally and that there will be no discrimination of caste and creed. Ibid. 46. Ambedkar believes that the assurance of a socialist leading the revolution that he does not believe in caste is not sufficient. The assurance must proceed from much deeper foundation, namely, the mental attitude of the compatriots towards one another in their spirit of personal equality and fraternity. He then puts crucial questions. Can it be said that the proletariat of India, poor as it is, recognizes no distinctions except that of rich and the poor? Can it be said that the poor in India recognize no distinctions of caste or creed, high or low? If the fact is that they do, what unity of front can be expected from such a proletariat in its action against the rich? How can there be a revolution if the proletariat cannot present a united front? Ibid. 47. Ambedkar believed that even if by some freak of fortune a revolution did take place and the socialists came to power, they would be compelled to deal with the problems created by the social order prevalent in India. Thus, in order to have economic or political reform, the monster of caste had to be killed. Caste as division of labor in annihilation of caste. Ambedkar says that some have defended caste in the name of division of labor. According to them, since division of labor is a necessary feature of every civilized society, therefore, there is nothing wrong with the caste system. However, Ambedkar criticized this view on the following grounds. 1. The caste system is not merely division of labor, it is also a division of laborers. In Indian society the division of labor is accompanied by this unnatural division of laborers into watertight compartments. 2. The caste system is a hierarchy in which the divisions of laborers are graded one above the other. In no other country is the division of labor accompanied by this gradation of laborers. 3. This division of labor is not spontaneous. It is not based on natural aptitudes. The caste system appoints tasks to individuals in advance, not on the basis of trained original capacities, but on the basis of the social status of the parents. Stratification of occupations on the basis of caste system is positively pernicious. As industry is never static and undergoes rapid and sudden changes, an individual must be free to change his occupation. But the caste system will not allow Hindus to take to occupations where they are wanted if they do not belong to them by heredity. By not permitting readjustment of occupations, caste causes much of the unemployment we see in the country. The division of labor brought about by the caste system is not a division based on choice and individual sentiments. Individual preferences have no place in it. It is based on the dogma of predestination. Ambedkar raises a pertinent question. What efficiency can there be in a system under which neither men's hearts nor their minds are in their work? Ibid. 48. He concludes that as an economic organization, caste is a harmful institution, because it subordinates man's natural powers and inclinations to the exigencies of social rules. To conclude, although division of labor is a basic characteristic of an industrial organization, the division of labor generated by the caste system is neither morally acceptable nor desirable. Hindu society is a myth. Ambedkar says that Hindu society is a myth. The word Hindu itself is a foreign name which Mohammedans gave to the natives for the purpose of distinguishing themselves from them. The Hindu society as such does not exist. It is only a collection of castes and their consciousness is only for their survival. Their level of oneness operates when Hindu-Muslim riots occur. On all other occasions, each caste endeavors to segregate itself and to distinguish itself from other castes. Indeed, the ideal Hindu must be like a rat living in his own hole, refusing to have any contact with others. The Hindus lack, to use a sociological term, consciousness of kind. In every Hindu, the consciousness that exists is the consciousness of his caste. Due to this, Hindus fail to form a society or a nation. Many Indians will not admit that they are not a nation but only an amorphous mass of people. They insist that behind the apparent diversity there is a fundamental unity because of habits and customs, beliefs and thoughts. However, Ambedkar argues that culture spreads by diffusion, and that is why one finds similarity between various primitive tribes in the matter of their habits and customs, beliefs, and thoughts, although they do not live in proximity. This doesn't mean the primitive tribes constituted a society. Men constitute a society because they have things which they possess in common. To have similar things is totally different from possessing things in common. And the only way by which men can come to possess things in common with one another is by being in communication with one another. This is merely another way of saying that society continues to exist by communication, indeed in communication. To make it concrete, it is not enough if men act in a way which agrees with the acts of others. Parallel activity, even if similar, is not sufficient to bind men into a society. For that purpose, what is necessary is for a man to share and participate in a common activity so that the same emotions are aroused in him that animate the others. Making the individual a sharer or partner in the associated activity so that he feels its success as his success, its failure as his failure, is the real thing that binds men and makes a society of them. Therefore, caste system prevents common activity, and by preventing common activity it has prevented the Hindus from becoming a society with a unified life and a consciousness of its own being. Ibid. 50-51. The effect of caste on the ethics of Hindus, according to Ambedkar, is simply deplorable. He opines that caste has killed public spirit, and public charity and public opinion. A Hindu's public is his caste. His responsibility is only to his caste. His loyalty is restricted only to his caste. Virtue has become caste-ridden and morality has become caste-bound. There is no sympathy to the deserving. There is no appreciation of the meritorious. There is no charity to the needy. Suffering as such calls for no response. There is charity, but it begins with the caste and ends with the caste. There is sympathy, but not for men of other caste. There is appreciation of virtue, but only when the man is a fellow caste man. On the point of ethics, therefore, he puts a crucial question: have not Hindus committed treason against their country in the interests of their caste? Ibid. 56-57. We have so far discussed Ambedkar's critique of the caste system on the ground of biological reasons and his depiction of the pernicious effect of caste on the ethics of Hindus. Ambedkar also commented on Hindu religion. He said that the Hindu religion is not a missionary religion. The real question is, why did the Hindu religion cease to be a missionary religion? According to Ambedkar, Hindu religion ceased to be a missionary religion when the caste system grew up among the Hindus. Caste is inconsistent with conversion. The problem is, finding a place and caste for the convert in the social life of the community is difficult. Unlike a club, the membership of a caste is not open to all and sundry. The law of caste confines its membership to persons born in the caste. Castes are autonomous, and there is no authority anywhere to compel a caste to admit a newcomer to its social life. Hindu society being a collection of castes and each caste being a close corporation, there is no place for a convert. Thus it is the caste which has prevented the Hindus from expanding and absorbing other religious communities. So long as caste remains, Hindu religion cannot be made a missionary religion, and Shuddhi will be both a folly and a futility. Ibid. 54. Solutions for casteless society put forward by Ambedkar. Ambedkar explored various ways to abolish caste. Abolishing subcastes. Ambedkar did not favor this view because even if we assume the fusion of subcastes is possible, there is no guarantee that the abolition of subcastes will necessarily lead to the abolition of castes. On the contrary, it may happen that the process may stop with the abolition of subcastes. In that case, the abolition of subcastes will only help to strengthen the castes and make them more powerful and therefore more harmful. Start inter-caste dining. Ambedkar felt this was inadequate because many castes allow inter-dining, but that has not destroyed the spirit of caste and the consciousness of caste. Encourage intermarriage. Ambedkar believes that fusion of blood can alone create the feeling of being kith and kin, and unless this feeling of kinship becomes paramount, the feeling of being aliens created by caste will not vanish. Nothing else will serve as the solvent of caste. Ambedkar observed that it may take ages before a breach in casteism is made. But whether the doing of the deed takes time or whether it can be done quickly, you must not forget that if you wish to bring about a breach in the system, then you have got to apply the dynamite to the Vedas and the Shastras, which deny any part to reason, and to Vedas and Shastras, which deny any part to morality. You must destroy the religion of the Shrutis and the Smritis. Ibid. 75. Ambedkar acknowledges the effectiveness of the intercaste marriages in abolishing caste. Though they are happening in India, their pace is very slow. Intercaste marriages must be promoted, popularized and encouraged at individual, social and national level by all castes and communities. The government could provide incentives for such marriages. Ambedkar argued that caste was the product of endogamy superimposed on exogamy in a shared cultural ambience. He claimed that evils such as sati, child marriage and prohibition of widow marriage were the outcomes of the institution of caste. The Brahmins, as an endogamous community, gave rise to the system of caste. Endogamous characteristics of caste also roped in other features such as division and gradation of laborers, prohibition on interdining and principle of occupation determined by birth. Ambedkar believes the destruction of the caste system is the only solution to the problem. Of the numerous steps suggested to annihilate caste in India, inter-caste marriages are the best. The principal points which Ambedkar made in the essay, summarized by Ambedkar himself, are as follows: 1. That caste has ruined the Hindus. 2. That the reorganization of the Hindu society on the basis of Chaturvarnya is impossible. 3. That the reorganization of the Hindu society on the basis of Chaturvarnya is harmful. 4. That the Hindu society must be reorganized on a religious basis which would recognize the principles of liberty, equality and fraternity. 5. That religious sanctity behind caste and Varna must be destroyed. 6. That the sanctity of caste and Varna can be destroyed only by discarding the divine authority of the Shastras.